Hey guys, time to get in on the action for the biggest moments in basketball with Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projections, place your entry, and win up to 100 times your money. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit of up to $100. Just download the Prize Picks app and use the code GET100. That's code GET100 on Prize Picks for a first deposit match of up to $100. Prize Picks. Pick more. Pick less. It's that easy.
A powerful solar storm means Michigan could get a chance at the Northern Lights late this week. I know that gets you excited, Lacey.
And you as well. A lot of it's, of course, going to depend on factors that are going to be out of our control, like cloud cover and just how big the solar storm is.
Yep, but let's see, this past weekend there was a solar storm, and so that means what's also called officially the Aurora Borealis, or Northern Lights, could be over Michigan, looks like starting tonight, possibly tomorrow night, and into April 1st. But again, there's so many variables that go into whether or not we get to see them. First and foremost, cloud cover.
Yeah.
Or rain.
Right. This time of year, Michigan in general has its fair share of cloud cover.
And then again, the further north you are in Michigan, our area, it has to really, really be a good show to make it all the way down. And we have more light pollution than some.
That's a big factor in it, because there are actually communities south of us who have significant less light pollution, but will have a better view of Northern Lights than, say, we are right here in town.
Yep, because it's just far enough away from Kalamazoo and Battle Creek that the light pollution is out of the way a little bit more. And then for us, looking north, you've got Lansing, you've got Grand Rapids. But once you get past Grand Rapids to the north, and that's when the light pollution really starts to go down and you have a better shot. Of course, we've talked about this a couple of times. We lived in the Thumb area, and if you go to the tip of the Thumb and look out over the lake.
There's no light pollution there.
No, you're just looking over the water. And again, in northeastern Michigan at our family cabins, another great place with low light pollution, and the lake's not far away too. And then, of course, in the Upper Peninsula, they get to see it quite often compared to us.
That's right. NASA issued a warning of a solar storm on March 28th, and experts say likely will trigger some strong auroras in the northern poles. The solar storms are caused by large jets of highly charged particles emerging from the surface of the sun, getting pushed out into space. Yeah, they say the auroras are so strong they should be visible along with the northern third of the United States, which would include us. Of course, we are expecting some cloudy weather for today and Thursday. But that G2 geomagnetic storm watch is in effect for Friday, when skies may be a little bit more clear in our area. Yeah, and we got an article if you'd like to read some more about this. It's called Powerful Solar Storms Means Michigan Could See Northern Lights Late This Week. You could actually scroll through there, read about it, and there's a link down at the very bottom so you can find updates for the latest conditions. From right now, they're saying a strong G3.
Yep, and weather forecasting for the surface, or for us, for the regular weather, is hard enough, but forecasting this type of stuff is, from what I've read, it's some of the most complicated stuff to try to predict.
It is, because there's factors that you look at. I'm not going to off the top of my head, get into all of it. Like the KP index is one thing that is important, and solar winds are important as well, what their speed is at and all of that. But everything can look right on paper, and for whatever reason, you're just not seeing them. And other times, things don't look right on paper, but for whatever reason, there they are.
I saw a couple of very good ones in this area. It was in the Kalamazoo area, actually. I want to say it was about 15 to 20 years ago.
Yeah.
It was before we met, so probably closer to 20.
I've heard a lot of people talk about that. I don't know how I missed it.
It was an incredible night, and I didn't go anywhere with lower light pollution. I was just on the northern side of Kalamazoo. I actually went to a church, the softball fields where I used to play, and parked, and I just sat and watched it for 3 or 4 hours, and the lights were just dancing like halfway up the sky. It was incredible. I couldn't pull my eyes away from it.
What kind of colors were you seeing?
Green, red, yellow, orange. I mean, it was a spectrum, and it just continued and continued for probably 4 or 5 hours before it started to taper off. And there were times I was like, oh, it's starting to go down, and then it would just shoot back up again. It was the best one I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I haven't gotten to see him too many times, but I did get to see on St. Patrick's Day. It was, how many years ago was that? Like 5 or 6 years ago?
Yep.
5.
And that was in the Thumb area. Yep.
Yeah. And there was a dark sky park not far from where we lived. And I met up with a friend, and you were at work, I think, that night.
Yeah.
But gosh, it was wonderful. And for a time, she thought I was her lucky charm when it came for looking for him.
Then the next 3 times you went out, nothing happened. And she was like, okay, I guess it was a coincidence. But we'll see what happens in the next couple of nights. Hopefully we'll get a chance.
We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with a look at your weather and news. Good morning. Jessica and Morgan are joining us from the Humane Society of South Central Michigan. How are you ladies doing today?
Great.
And you have a friendly seasonal reminder about our pets.
Yes. So even though it's been cold and it's probably going to be cold for another week or so, spring will eventually get here, at least as far as the warmer weather. We're already seeing some ticks and mosquitoes around, and the mosquitoes mean that it is time to take your pet to the vet to get an annual heartworm test for your dog and have your dog put on heartworm preventative if you're not doing it year-round. So we always say that it's important to do it at least May through October, even though many vets are now recommending it year-round. And you do need an annual heartworm test for that. So that's super important. And you might want to check with your cat as well at the vet, because heartworm is becoming more of an issue for cats. There's no treatment for heartworm in cats, and normally the first sign is death. So it's definitely something to consider as far as keeping your cat on heartworm preventative. So now is the time of year. It's going to take some time to get into your vet, most likely, just because it's been so busy. So I would definitely recommend that you make that appointment now.
Absolutely. Definitely a good time to get that appointment made. We just recently got some appointments set up for wellness exams and booster shots for the youngest of our 2 kitties. And those were out by a month.
Yeah, definitely. We've had some local vets retire, and so that kind of squeezes everything down, and so many pets were adopted during the pandemic that it's becoming a little bit harder to get in. So make your appointments now and be rather safe than sorry.
And that's not the only reason we're here today. You wanted to introduce Maude, our featured pet of the week.
Yes, Maude is a year and 6 months old. She is a very petite little girl, just a beautiful marking. She's pretty much just white and solid gray with really striking green eyes.
Oh, she sounds adorable. And what kind of home is she looking for?
You know, Maude is more on the quiet, independent side. So I think a home that is somewhat busy, but not, too overly active where it's going to, scare her, freak her out. She doesn't have a lot of experience as far as we know, with children or anything like that in the home. So I think older kids who are going to be respectful of her and her size would be best. She is kind of a funny cat when you meet her. She definitely watches from the sidelines, but once she gets to know you, she'll vocally ask for attention, but again, not knowing much of her history, she always kind of acts like she doesn't know how to accept the love and attention that she wants from you. So she just has a really unique, funny personality, and she is just going to make a fantastic companion to the right situation.
Well, she sounds absolutely adorable, and sounds like she needs a family that's going to shower her with love slowly and patiently while she gets kind of accustomed to it.
Yes, absolutely. I think that just those slow little moments, baby steps, it's going to go a long way with her. And I think in no time, she'll be able to blossom into whoever she truly is.
Well, if you're interested in making Maude a forever part of your family, you can see photos and get more information on our website at 953wbck.com. We'll have a link back to the Humane Society of South Central Michigan, so you can fill out that application. You can do so right on your phone now and get it turned back into them so you can meet Maude or one of their other furry friends looking for a forever home. Thank you, ladies.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Hi, this is Rank.
Plato's Closet in West Ashley and North Charleston are springing up cash. Just sell us your gently used warm weather styles like tees, shorts, sandals, and more. We're paying cash on the spot for gently used spring styles for guys and girls. Support sustainable fashion. This spring, do your thing and recycle the spring-inspired clothes, shoes, and accessories that are just hanging in your closet for cash on the spot. Let your spring clothes bloom into cash at Plato's Closet. Plato's Closet, located in West Ashley on Sam Rittenberg Boulevard and North Charleston on Rivers Avenue.
95.3 WBCK. How you doing?
Doing all right, Lacey. One thing we know that you follow closely and are an advocate for and involved in so many ways is the missing persons community in Michigan, working with several people at various points when these cases come up. But another thing that you do once in a while is put out a group of missing person cases that are ongoing, and this one's kind of alarming.
Yeah, there are 17 children that have gone missing since the beginning of this year, since 2022, January 1st,
Wow.
who have still not been found.
And this is across the entire state of Michigan.
That is correct. And there are other kids missing. It's just these are the ones that have been entered into the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. So some have gone missing and just haven't been entered into that system yet. And it's just kind of scary, though, when you see that kids have been missing, some of these kids missing since the beginning of the year.
Yeah, and regardless of the reasons, each of them is at risk for all sorts of possibilities that life could throw at you if they're not in their safe and secure location at home, whether the child has run away purposely or not.
It's kind of irrelevant at this point.
It isn't, because it's, all of us make bad choices when we're young sometimes, and we learn from those decisions. And
there's a reason why they're considered minors and are supposed to be in the care of a guardian or adult or parent. And it's because their brains haven't fully matured to be able to make, real sound, solid decisions. They don't have the reasoning that develops as you get older.
Right. And once you're out and about in the world, who knows where, sometimes they travel to different cities to be with somebody that
one thing
they met.
worth pointing out with runaways is that there are people sometimes that they're chatting with online that either present themselves as someone that they are not, perhaps somebody closer in age to them, or who kind of try to encourage them to leave home and promise them gifts and things of that nature.
Yeah, one of the downsides to this internet age that we live in now, and we've mentioned this several times before, the internet provides a path into your home.
Yeah.
And makes
access to your children.
Yeah, makes them accessible. And so besides trying to locate these missing children, preventative measures include really making sure you're on top of the sites, the apps, that
who they're talking with,
yeah,
looking at those conversations, even as much as, your kids are not going to enjoy that. Many parents are doing it, and the kids do survive.
Yeah, you got to take that hard stance. They're going to be stubborn.
Yeah.
But there's ways they can enjoy and use the internet without getting into problems.
And in this story, you will find some links that go back to the National Center of Missing and Exploited Children with ways to talk to your children about online safety as well as preventing being abducted. But if you scroll through, there are photos of 17 different children all across the state of Michigan. And we have their name as well as when they went missing, the city they are from, as well as a description that is best available, and the phone number to contact the police department that's handling that case, as well as the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children.
Yep, and there are a couple that are not too far from the Battle Creek area. One is in Kalamazoo, Adriana LaCour.
Which I have written an article on her by herself, and I believe there's a girl from Grand Rapids in here as well that also had written an article on. But these kids are all across the state, and they're not home.
Yep. And again, if you want to go check out these photos and the information, and you can
scroll through. Yeah,
you can help. You can be an advocate too. Just keep your eyes open is really all that is required. Take this information and just kind of hold on to it and keep your eyes open when you're out and about.
Yep. Definitely look through those pictures and then be aware in your everyday life while you're out and about, and you might be able to help contribute to a reunion.
Yeah.
Your weather today, well, it's going to be rainy, cloudy, and we might even see a thunderstorm. It's a bit windy out there. We'll have a high in the mid-60s. Right now, we got some wind, clouds. It's 38 degrees and feels like 31.
Yeah, so, of course, Cereal City, USA, even featured on national TV as a great destination one time.
Absolutely.
I don't remember what show it was. It was probably on the Travel Channel or something like that. But we all know it didn't make it.
No, it did not make it, sadly. Do you remember what year it was that it closed?
I want to say like it was in the mid-2000s.
I think it was 2007.
Yeah, because we had been married a couple of years. I just remember it in the news. We never went there. It was a place I wanted to go and check out sometime. But
so you'd never been there either?
No, and apparently not enough other people.
Right. Yeah, I had never been there as well. Of course, we love our cereal.
Of course, especially in Battle Creek. It's a point of pride.
Absolutely.
You know, it is sad, some of the factories and the situations with Kellogg's and Post. Of course, there's been layoffs and the presence isn't quite what it used to be, but the tie to the history of the sanitarium and all of that, I would say lives in a positive place with most people in the Battle Creek community.
Yeah, and the Kellogg cereal plant was a place many people visited on field trips and school outings. My school didn't do it, though.
Well, and I'm trying to remember when it opened as well. I don't think it was, let's see. They did shut down in 2007. I don't know. It'd have to be something we would look up. But the tours, and this is at the plant. This is before Cereal City, USA was around. The tours included watching the cornflakes being made, and that warm cereal smell never left you until you got home. You can still kind of get that smell in the air sometimes when the wind's right.
Oh, absolutely. The paper hats were cheesy, but what's not to like about them?
So I never got a paper hat. I missed out on the paper hat.
And you also missed out on the kid size snack pack of boxes of cereals that they let you take home.
Oh, my goodness. Well, with those tours being successful, another idea was hatched that Battle Creek would forever be crowned the cereal capital of the world. And that became a stepping stone to create Cereal City, USA.
Right. It was a family-friendly amusement area with entertainment. Kellogg's animal mascots like Tony the Tiger and the Rice Krispies trio, and plenty of the Kellogg snack food.
Yep. The tours ended at the plant in 1986 thanks to suspected spying from the other cereal company. I'm assuming we're talking about Post. And there were some OSHA complaints related to the factory tours. So there we go. 1998 is when Cereal City, USA opened. So, yeah, I would not have been going on a tour as a young child.
Because it wasn't there then.
It wasn't there yet. It opened after an expense of about $22 million.
Wow. And obviously it was aimed at kids. There were ice cream cones with various Kellogg's pre-sweetened cereals you could have sprinkled over the top. That sounds wonderful. You could get your pitcher, put on a box of Frosted Flakes, and have pictures with the cartoon characters. There were so many activities, and all of it based on the cereals and their cartoon mascots.
So earlier you were saying that's the closest you'd ever get to being on a box of Wheaties. Apparently you only got to be on Frosted Flakes.
I'd take it. I'm not going to get on a box of cereal otherwise.
Well, and now that I think of it, Wheaties, I believe, is General Mills.
Right. I thought about that after, too. But, yeah, the biggest complaint about the Cereal City was it was too corporate of an atmosphere.
Yeah, it was a place intended mainly for kids, but it seemed like they had a lot of these how we make cereal films, history timelines, stuff you and I would love. But that younger kids would maybe find a little bit boring, like the backstory on the Kellogg's brothers that would fall on deaf ears as a child. We've eaten up any documentary we've seen about the Kellogg's. So maybe it was more aimed at us than at kids.
I know, because even as a kid, I was really into history and news and all of that. I wasn't a typical child.
They had fake machinery that simulated the cereal making process, but apparently the kids weren't fooled by that.
Well, what are you going to do? Have kids getting their arms ripped off with some kind of special cereal dispensing machine?
Well, these days, the awe and wonder of how cereal is made has kind of been scrapped and pushed away from public viewing. Now it relies on promotions and marketing and the cute cartoon characters on the boxes and other things, wacky names, things like that. Cereal City, USA was a good idea.
I would go so far as to say it was a great idea.
Great idea. just not profitable. It's been permanently shut down since the first month of 2007.
Yeah, and according to Roadside America on Thursday morning, January 4th, management of the Kellogg's Cereal City USA called the Economic Development Council in Battle Creek and told them that it would not be open for business that day. Further, it would not be open for business on any other day in the near future, and it was permanently shut down. But what's great is you can kind of relive these memories.
Yeah.
There's quite a few photos in here. It'd almost be like taking a step back in time and getting a virtual tour.
Yeah, a bunch of photos of some kids inside the Cereal City USA, those paper hats that they gave out.
Yeah.
A look at the...
It really does give you a good idea of what it would have been like.
Yeah. There's some screenshots, too, that show the history of certain Kellogg products, like what year Rice Krispies came out and Raisin Bran and...
What their
Loops.
operations looked like the toasting ovens for Kellogg in 1934 and their cafeteria. Gosh, that's a nice cafeteria.
Yeah, it was a really...
That looks nicer than some restaurants I've been to.
I know. You wonder maybe if they would ever think of trying something again. I don't think they're going to spend $22 million to do it, but
no.
Wonder if it's an idea that will ever be revisited.
I think there is still a great idea in there. Honestly, you just have to rework it, maybe have some fun rides or something like that instead of, doing the history of the manufacturing process of cereal.
Or you could have that too and maybe aim some of that at older people, kind of.
Yeah, while the kids are off playing, the adults can be entertained.
There you go. Well, if you want to read and see these great photos, we have an article called Battle Creek Cereal City USA, When and Why Did It Close? At 953wbck.com and on the app. So the Detroit Lions are taking part in something that historically has helped other teams who have participated in it.
Oh, I wasn't aware of this.
Yeah, it's a show called HBO's Hard Knocks.
Okay, but how has this helped other teams?
Well, it's been more one of those teams that have participated in this end up doing better the following season. There's no direct reason.
Some silly sports superstition, like I can't wash my socks for the rest of the season.
It is kind of like that. 11 of the last 13 teams that have been featured on Hard Knocks have either equaled or improved their win-loss record in the regular season. For instance, the Cleveland Browns, they were winless in 2017, and after they were featured on Hard Knocks, the next season they were 7-8-1. So that's a big improvement. I mean, it's hard to go worse than winless, but
what do? Just not show up to a game?
Yeah. So along with all of that, it's going to be kind of a fun. Now, Matt Patricia, the former Lions coach, wanted nothing to do with this. But, of course, we do have a new coach, Dan Campbell, and he is a lot more engaged in the idea.
I think it's... my goodness, I don't see what they have to lose.
And this will be something really fun for the fans to watch. The NFL announced Monday at its annual league meeting that the Lions would be featured. They would be this year's feature on the Hard Knocks training camp series. What it does is it follows the team around before the season, and they record, just different aspects of training camp, what the players are doing, what the coaches are doing. I'm sure they're careful not to give out any secrets and strategies, and you don't want other teams to know what you're doing. But yeah, we'll see. Maybe this will lead to an improvement for the Lions for their 2022 season.
I did happen to catch some Matt Patricia news.
Oh, really? What happened now?
Apparently, he's doing something for the New England Patriots.
Oh, they brought him back home, huh?
Apparently.
Yeah, that's interesting. But if you want to read a little bit more about Hard Knocks and how it works, we have an article as well about this that you can check out on the website. And a little bit later on, if we have time, there's another interesting thing with the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, we might have to make some time to talk about that.
If not, maybe we'll get to it tomorrow. We'll see.
We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with a look at your weather.
So last week, we got to have a really fun interview with a couple of people from California. So they had to get up really morning to come on with us.
Former Battle Creek resident and a dear friend of hers are preparing for a 2,200-mile cross-country bicycle ride.
That is incredibly long distance.
And they're not just doing it for the fun of it. They're doing it for a wonderful cause. They're raising money for cancer research, and it's all in memory of one of the ladies' fathers.
Yep. Nicole Jaeger and her friend Sylvia Moss, again, they joined us last week to talk a little bit about this, but we want to revisit it, and we will be having them on the show again as it gets closer.
It's going to be exciting to kind of see how their training is going, because it does take a lot of training. You don't just get on a bike and go for a ride for 2,200 miles.
No, they told us there's all sorts of conditioning that they do to get ready. Sylvia has been doing these types of things a lot longer than Nicole, and so she's kind of helping Nicole get more ready and able to do something this crazy but awesome.
It is truly awesome. Nicole's father, Marshall, lost his battle with throat cancer. And so what they're doing now is trying to raise money through this bike ride. And all that money raised is going to go to cancer research in memory of her father. There's been a fund set up over at the Rogel Cancer Center at the University of Michigan, and that's where her father was treated.
Yeah, she came back to Battle Creek. As we said, she's been living out of state for several years. Her and Sylvia, I think they met out in California. But at that time, she came back to Battle Creek to spend time with her family and help her father through his recovery and try to spend every precious moment together, knowing that time is borrowed and precious. And then it was during her father's recovery, she was reminded of a dream that she once had.
Yeah, she was assisting her father and his physical therapist with exercises for his recovery. And the therapist asked Nicole if she had ever considered going into the field. And the therapist said that she could see a difference in Nicole's work with her father, that it was making a huge difference with his recovery, and urged her to pursue the career. And it was a career that she had dreamed of when she was younger, before she found herself working in a office in corporate America.
It's amazing the things that happen in your life that just take you in a whole different direction than what you thought. But to me, that's one of the things that you can cherish in life sometimes. But sadly, as we mentioned earlier, her father eventually lost his battle with cancer. And that time that Nicole spent with him changed her and the path she was on in life, as we were talking about. She eventually left the office grind behind and started her journey toward earning a doctorate in physical therapy, and since earning that degree.
Absolutely. And now Nicole's focusing on something else her father believed in, and that is giving back to others. And Nicole obviously can't bring her father back, but she can do something to help others going through a similar journey and diagnosis by raising funds for cancer research.
Yep. And so this 2,200 cross-country bike ride, and I mean, it's going to be difficult, but boy, are they going to get to see some beautiful scenery.
I can't even imagine all the stuff they're going to see. I would not enjoy being on a bike ride for that long, but I tell you, I would certainly love to watch it.
And so if you want to support this effort, the bike ride is coming up later this year. They're going to do it during the summertime.
July 1st is when they begin their journey. And the goal is to raise $50,000. And that sounds like an awful lot. That money goes quickly when it comes to cancer research. But an anonymous donor is matching all donations up to $25,000. So if another $25,000 is raised, right there is the goal.
Yeah, that's awesome. There will be a gathering for the ladies in Battle Creek before they begin the last leg of the trip, which will end in Ann Arbor. And so we'll definitely give more details about that. They won't know exactly when that's happening until they're kind of going along. And
anything could happen. They could run into a week-long stretch of horrible weather that leaves them hunkered down in an area. So, on the fundraising page, Nicole notes that an estimated 65,000 people are going to learn that they have head or neck cancer this year alone. She says that the Rogel Cancer Center is at the forefront of research, finding advanced and alternative treatments so that others don't have to endure the type of radical surgery her father had.
And again, if you want to help, you don't have to wait until they do the bike ride. We have a link to the donation page, and you can read even more about what Nicole Jaeger is going to be doing with her friend Sylvia Moss. The link is at 953wbck.com, and they would definitely appreciate your help. And again, we will be checking back in with the two of them as it gets closer, and we'll continue to follow this wonderful story.
Absolutely. And we're going to take a quick break and we'll be back with a look at your news. So you and I both are trained weather spotters.
Yeah, it's an accomplishment I managed to accomplish.
And a lot of people have this kind of misconception that it's difficult or very time consuming. And really, it's just one class that you take on one particular day. And they educate you on identifying different types of clouds, the types of clouds that are may produce storms or be accompanied by storms.
Yeah.
How to identify what the clouds are doing and the winds are doing during a tornado, and how to tell the difference between a tornado and something maybe a little more benign.
Yeah, because sometimes they can look very similar. You see these really dark, almost black clouds, but it might not have anything to do with the tornado, or they can
it just
look
might
like
have the shape, but it maybe isn't moving or anything like that. It's just a weird looking cloud, like a scud cloud.
And I'd say another misconception too when it comes to weather spotting is that you're an actual storm chaser. Now, some people can be both, but you're not trying to drive into a tornado with equipment or anything like that.
No,
this is more.
Which you and I have done our fair share of storm chasing, but we want to be a safe distance away. We want to observe what's happening from a safe distance. And you can usually, if you get to a good area where you can see a large amount of sky, you can tell a lot about what's happening.
Yeah, and several years ago, you took a class when we were living in the Thumb region with the National Weather Service. I don't remember which office. What was it, in Cairo?
I don't think they had a weather office there, but the class was in Cairo, and I want to say it was
the southeastern. There's 5 or 6 and
different offices. It might have been in Detroit.
And I took mine. I want to say it was about 3 years ago in Battle Creek, and in fact, the person who led that was someone who we had in the studio recently, Chief Meteorologist Keith Thompson from News Channel 3.
Yeah, but it's really not a terribly difficult thing. If you got a couple hours and you want to sign up and do it, and they make it even easier now. At the time, you and I both had to go someplace to take these classes, but now you can do them virtually. Not only do they tell you the answers to all the questions they're going to ask, but at the end of it, you can come out feeling a little bit of accomplishment, knowing that you have ways that you can get in contact with the National Weather Service and NOAA so that you can communicate with them what's happening, because sometimes they don't have a clear picture.
Yeah, and the other good thing about it is there's no other required expense. If there are things that you want to get, you're more than welcome to
well, I don't know if it's still the case. You used to get a discount on being a trained weather spotter. You get a discount on fun weather tools.
Toys. Weather toys. But you don't have to. And usually at the end of the class, they will give you a couple of pamphlets and booklets that you can keep in your...
Some contact information on how to get in touch with the National Weather Service, the correct way to report things. So let's say you have hail. Well, you don't want to just send them a picture of hail by itself. You want to have like maybe a quarter next to it so that they can get an idea of what the size of that is.
Yep.
Because there are people that exaggerate unintentionally, softball size hail. Well, that hail was the size of a quarter.
Right. Well, when you're going through stuff that's exciting, sometimes your memory of it and what actually happened can be two different things. But they have tools they give you that help you provide accurate information. And again, it's to help them put out alerts to help people safe.
Yeah, I mean, this
weather.
Literally can help save lives.
And my favorite part of it, though?
What?
Is the storm warn magnet that we got for our cars on the back.
Yeah.
They don't give those out. We had to order
Skywarn.
those. Or Skywarn, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Skywarn is like a general term for all people that are keeping an eye on conditions.
Yep.
Well, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be back with a look at your weather. 95.3 WBCK, and joining us now is Christine Piak of Willard Library. How are you doing today, Christine?
I'm well, thank you.
Definitely got some spring-like weather, and that is good timing because I think the kids are going to be on spring break.
That's right, and we have fun things going on all the time. Our brochure for the spring, which covers April and May, is available now. It's 12 pages chock full of all kinds of fun things to do.
Oh, sounds wonderful. And you've got something, it looks like a way to use some of Willard Library's resources without actually having to go there.
That's right. We're having a fun program. It's called Appy Hour, kind of a play on Happy Hour. And we're going to have our digital expert available. It's going to be Tuesdays from 10 to 11 at the Downtown Creative Space during April. And he's going to be there, and you can just drop in, and you can learn how to use our apps. We have 3 apps, Libby, Hoopla, and Freegal Music. And you can download or stream ebooks, audiobooks, magazines, comics, music, TV shows, and movies. So they're really cool. They're all free with your library card, so just come on down, and if you got questions, we'll try to help you. Bring your phone or your tablet, and we'll show you how to do it.
All right. That sounds like a good time. We all know that Monday is everybody's favorite day of the week, right?
Right.
Yeah, right. Well, you guys are trying to do something to make Mondays a little bit better for people. Why don't you tell us about this one?
We are. Maker Mondays are back. They took a little break for a while. But every Monday in April from 2 to 5 p.m. and also in May, we'll have Maker Mondays in the creative space of the Downtown Library. And each month there's a different project. We're going to work on laser cutting during April, and it's going to be engraving personalized pencils. Like when you went to school, remember kids have pencils with their names on it?
Oh, yeah.
I
We've got the
did.
pencils. Yeah, I know. We've got the pencils, and we're going to show you how you can engrave your name or whatever you'd like to engrave on your pencils.
Huh. Lacey would definitely like that because I'm going to share some information here. Whenever we've been on vacations and you go to like one of those shops that has all the things you can buy and it has the names already on, Lacey's name is never.
Oh, that's too bad.
Brandon
You can make your own now.
Yeah. I think it's because you can spell Lacey like 12 different ways. And so they just say, forget it.
Right. They don't even try.
Well, it sounds like you got something else fun on Thursdays.
Right. Also in the creative space downtown, we're going to have Open Lab, and that's on Thursdays from 9 to 11 during April and May. And you can come down to the lab, and our creative services librarian will be available. And we've got different equipment you can learn how to use. She can show you how. We have a vinyl cutter, a heat press, like you can put things on T-shirts. We have a film scanner, like you can scan your old pictures and have them digitally available. And we also have a recording booth if you want to do a podcast or create some music. So lots of fun stuff. Thursdays from 9 to 11, starting next week.
That absolutely is great. I'm thinking I need a shirt with my name on it that I need to come get personalized. And then I'm going to work on a podcast next.
Great.
All right, Christine Bianca, Willard Library, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll talk to you again next week.
My pleasure.
And joining us now is Emily Lokes of Celebration Cinema. Good morning, Emily. How are you?
Good morning. Hey, spring weather continues to flirt with us, and this is a great time of the year for the movies. So I'm doing great. And, you know, what an Oscars week.
Yeah. Did anything significant happen at the Oscars?
You know, this is obviously stuff happened. You know, the sad part is that the Oscars in which people are probably talking less about the movies than any other Oscars in history, and more about some of the drama, which is just, from my perspective, really unfortunate for all involved. I just hope that there's some real conversation and reconciliation, and there's good conversations that are happening about that moment. But wow, what a unwinding and hard to watch happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And it kind of overshadowed some more positive moments, like the interaction between Lady Gaga and Liza Minnelli up on stage.
Oh, what a delightful moment there. And just seeing the genuine connection between those two women, and Lady Gaga supporting a woman that she just really reveres. You know, that's one of the fun things about watching the Oscars. And then I also am a huge fan of Jessica Chastain, so to see her finally win an award. I have my picture where I got to meet her at CinemaCon a few years ago, so I feel like just kind of the glow by association. So that was really cool to see her win for Eyes of Tammy Faye, which was a niche film, but really excellent. And then, you know, I am also really impressed by the film that did win Best Picture, Coda. Our sadness had been that it didn't have a theatrical release largely up until this point, but we are able to bring it into a couple of our theaters this week. We finally got access to it. And so that is coming to Kalamazoo new. Coda, which is the story of Ruby, who's a teenager. So it's a coming of age film, and she's the only hearing member of a deaf family in Massachusetts. And her family owns this fishing boat business, and she kind of toggles worlds. She's growing up in high school. She becomes really caught up in drama and theater and singing, and develops a love of music, which is completely foreign to the experience of her parents. And so Troy Kotsur, who plays her father, just won Best Supporting Actor. And just watching his wrenching love and pain as his young daughter kind of launches into the world in ways that are mysterious to him is an amazing performance, and we will be bringing that into theaters. So I'm excited about seeing Coda come to the big screen.
Yeah.
And there was lots of other great stuff at the Oscars.
Yeah, Coda, the Academy Award Best Picture. Now, that's the last award given out, correct?
That's the last award. So
Okay.
if people were still awake or still paying attention by then.
That's one thing I was curious about. Now, we have to go to bed early. We're not able to watch these live anymore, so we usually
Right.
catch highlights, which, of course, we had on Monday. So how late did it go on Sunday night?
Oh, late. Yeah.
Like after midnight, 1 o'clock?
Yes. Yep, that's about right.
So there are some new movies coming out, too.
Also new, which is the big movie this weekend, is Morbius, which is one of the most compelling and conflicted characters in Marvel Cinematic Universe. So this is Sony's new installment in that universe of film. And Morbius is going to come to the screen. The big screen is Oscar winner Jared Leto, who's played a number of interesting things. Joker in Suicide Squad. He won an Oscar for a role in Dallas Buyers Club. But he plays this enigmatic anti-hero, Michael Morbius, who's dangerously ill with a rare blood disorder. He's determined to save others from his fate. He's a doctor, so he attempts a desperate gamble. I think it involves bat blood. So what could go wrong, So at first there's some radical success, and then strange new urges and darknesses are unleashed, and he has to figure out who he is with this new set of circumstances and identity. So Morbius, a little darker film, but it is rated PG-13, starring Jared Leto, coming to the big screen this weekend.
And he's a very talented actor as well, so definitely we're checking out.
He is. He's kind of known to be a method actor. So when he gets into his roles, he really gets into his roles, and he has been noted for bringing that to the set, which has caused all kinds of interest for his co-stars.
All right.
So, yeah, that's the big new one this weekend. I saw The Lost City, which opened with Sandra Bullock last weekend, and I've got to say the dynamic between Sandra Bullock, Channing Tatum, and Brad Pitt is maybe the antidote to a darker movie like Morbius. So if you're headed into spring break this week and you need some lighter fare, The Lost City, we've got you covered. That's just a completely fun film. So I'd recommend that highly. And then we also just have a really niche art film called Compartment Number 6, which was a Finnish entry into the Academy Awards, about a young woman, kind of again, sort of a identity picture. She's trying to figure out who she is after a breakup. She goes on a train ride and she ends up in this train compartment with a local coal miner. And so it's about their connection and just journey discovering themselves and the country and all that. So a lot of interesting stuff on the big screen. Hotel Transylvania Transformania will continue on as the Flicks family film, so free for kids. And we're hoping that, there's some good weather in spring break, but if the cold, rainy stuff drives you in, the theaters are a good place to come.
Absolutely. Emily Lokes, Celebration Cinema, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you. Have a great morning, and we'll see you at the movies.
Hey guys, time to get in on the action for the biggest moments in basketball with Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app. Just select 2 or more players. Pick more or less on their projections, place your entry, and win up to 100 times your money. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit of up to $100. Just download the Prize Picks app and use the code GET100. That's code GET100 on Prize Picks for a first deposit match of up to $100. Prize Picks. Pick more. Pick less. It's that easy.